Okay, in the past videos, we looked at analyzing financial statements through horizontal analysis and vertical analysis. And here we're going to take a look at ratio analysis. And it tends to be broken down into different types. Here we're looking at liquidity ratios, and examples of that is working capital, current ratio, quick or acid test ratio, accounts receivable, and merchandise inventory turnovers. Now, the working capital and current ratio are both very important, particularly to bankers and loan officers. They want to make sure that there's enough current assets to cover the current liabilities, enough cash, etc. as well. Okay, and so working capital is the total of current assets minus the total of current liabilities. And we want there to be a nice good chunk left over. We want to have more current assets than we have current liabilities. The current ratio has a formula of the total current assets divided by the total current liabilities, and puts it into a ratio format. So for our French importers, French connection importers that we've been looking at, their total current assets is 153.45 for 2012, and we divide that by the total current liabilities. Here we have our liabilities and our total current liabilities. These are all the things that are due within 1 year. 74,200 and 123.50. Here are current assets, 153.45, 126.950 from 2011. These are all the assets that are either going to turn to cash, meaning like accounts receivable, we'll get that money within 30 days. Okay, so that'll turn to cash. Inventory gets sold, so that turns to cash. But things like supplies and prepaid insurance and stuff, that's just stuff that gets used up. Okay, so if it either turns to cash or gets used up within a year, then we put it in this section called current assets. So that's what we're looking at now. We're looking at that total current assets divided by the total current liabilities for 2012, and we're also looking at 2011. So when I divide that number out, 153.45 divided by 74,200, I get 2.0. And we put it in a ratio format by using the words 2, 1, or we can put a colon, 1, 2.0, colon 1, but that would read the same way, 2.0 to 1. And the 2.0 relates to the numerator. So that tells me that there's $2 of current assets to every $1 of current liabilities. The 1 goes to the denominator. So for every $1 of current liabilities that I owe out in the next year, I have $2 of current assets that can cover it. And generally that is considered, the rule of thumb is that's considered satisfactory. That we would like to have a 2 to 1 current ratio. In 2011, when we divided this out, we got 1.1 to 1. So in this case, for every $1 of liabilities, I only had $1.10 of current assets. And some of that stuff is like supplies. It's not going to help me really pay off those liabilities. So that's unsatisfactory. Okay, would have been in 2011. So we definitely moved in the correct direction there. Here is accounts receivable turnover. Now I didn't mention the current or asset quick or the asset test ratio. What that did was, instead of just all the current assets, it took the quick assets, the assets that are going to change to cash very quickly, as opposed to a whole year. And so generally you're going to take just the accounts receivable, the cash and the accounts receivable, really quick stuff like that, and divide it by your current liabilities. You would want that probably to be a 1-to-1 at least. The accounts receivable turnover, this looks at how often during the year do people pay off what they owe us, the customers. And so here we have in 2012, our formula is to take the net sales on account, if we have it, divided by the average accounts receivable. Now, if the cash register, the computer, the software, accounting software, whatever, doesn't divide out the sales between cash sales and sales on account, then just use the total sales. For what you're doing, a lot of times you won't have this number, and so just use the total net sales. And you're going to divide that by the average accounts receivable. And to get that average accounts receivable, we take the beginning account receivable and add the ending accounts receivable and divide by 2. So here we have the beginning accounts receivable is $50,000. The ending is $61,750. So we would add those two together and divide by 2, and that gives us our average of $55,875. So we take our net sales on account divided by the average accounts receivable, and that gives us 11.97. So that's almost 12 times a year that our accounts receivable are being paid off. And if our policy is net 30, we would want it to be 12 times a year. Okay, and over here on 2011, we have 12.6 times a year. So even more often than 12 times a year. So we were really getting paid quickly in 2011. Now we can get this down to a number of days by taking 365 on the numerator and dividing it by whatever your turnover is that you got up there, and that will tell you exactly how many days. So it used to take us only 29 days. Our policy may be net 30 for customers to pay us off, but they're paying us off even a little quicker. But now that's lengthened out to 30.5 days. And remember, we talked about how we had extra sales and extra sales on account, and that means you're going to have some people that are paying slower. So you're going to want to be very careful about this is going in the wrong direction. If it gets any worse than this, you're going to have a problem. So management's going to want to check with the accounts receivable department, make sure that they're keeping up, they're calling customers who are getting late, sending out statements, whatever needs to be done to keep on top of this. Also, if we're giving too easy of a policy on accounts receivable, letting people buy on account easily, even if we're not checking their credit, whatever, stuff like that, then we're definitely going to end up with this going in the wrong direction. Okay, merchandise inventory turnover. we take the cost of goods sold from our income statement, and we divide it by average merchandise inventory. And to get the average inventory, we do just like we did with accounts receivable. We get the beginning inventory from 2011, add the ending inventory from 2012, and divide by 2. Okay, so our cost of goods sold for 2012 divided by the average inventory is 10.98. So about 11 times a year we are selling, our inventory would sell out. Okay, in 2011 it was about 10 times. Okay, 10 times per year. So it's actually going in, since it's doing more often, it's going in the right direction. Now, is this a good number? Oftentimes with a retail place, and we don't know if French Connection is a retail place or a wholesale place. Might be a wholesale place since they have so many sales on account. That we would expect the inventory to turn over more often. We would probably, if it were me, I would want to see inventory turning over more like 2 and 3 months. Okay, multiple, like 4, like bunches of times per year. Okay, so to get it into days, again, we take 365 in the numerator, and then whatever is your turnover ratio in the denominator, that tells us the days. It used to take us 36.8 days to turn over our inventory. Now it takes us 33.2 days, and so inventory is definitely selling quicker, but we probably want it even quicker than that. Okay, profitability ratios. This is ratios looking at our revenues and expenses, and what kind of percentage of profitability do we have. We're looking at net sales compared to the assets that we buy to help create those sales. We look at our return on the total assets, our return on common stockholders' equity, our earnings per share of common stock, our book value per share. We would also look at things like the net income divided by sales, which we already looked at in our horizontal analysis. We already looked at that, but that would also be considered a ratio, profitability ratio that we would look at. So here is the ratio of net sales to assets. This is also called the asset turnover ratio. So here, the formulas that we take the net sales, we divide it by the average assets. And again, the average assets is going to be the beginning total assets plus the ending total assets divided by 2. Okay, and we take the net sales and divide it by that average assets. So when we put it into a ratio, 1.9:1 or 1.921, it's read the same way. So this means for every dollar of assets, I'm getting $1.90 of sales. So the whole reason we buy assets is to produce sales and net income, to produce profits. So if an asset is not going to help us produce profits, we don't buy that asset. Okay, that's what it's there for. And so in 2011, for every dollar of assets that we had, we only produced $1.70 in sales. So we have done better in 2012 than we did in 2011. And so that is a good thing. Our assets are helping to produce higher amount of sales.